Boom, here we go. Let's talk a little bit about industrial arts, or better known maybe as shop. I want to talk to you a little bit about our room, kind of walk around our room a little bit, kind of give you a little bit of an introduction, and give you some insight on the experience you're going to have this year. I have to say I'm a little bit biased, but I guarantee that this will probably be one of your favorite classes. And I say that because this class is middle school. Right? This class is going to make you think. This class is going to make you understand how things work. This class is going to allow you to have some fun. This class is going to allow you to be creative. This class is going to allow you to do things that you normally wouldn't get a chance to do in other classes. You're going to be able to move around and work on things, and that really leads us into what middle school students do best, and where you'll probably leave this class and you will be years down the road and you'll say, "God, I remember learning that in Mr. Stahl's class or in shop class." Some of my greatest rewards as a teacher is when students come back and say, "Hey, Mr. Stahl, I redid my whole entire house because stuff that you taught me in middle school," or "I was able to build this project at home because some of the things you taught me in middle school. I was able to build a deer blind because of something that you showed me in shop class." And that's my goal, is to let you leave here with skills that are going to be left with you for a lifetime. Whether it be learning how to use a tape measure, whether it be learning how to use a chop saw, to understanding what an air compressor is, what is a bandsaw, what is a drill press, those types of things. There are a couple of things I'm going to ask you to do every single day. I'm going to ask you to pull your hair back. I'm going to make sure that you have your sleeves rolled up. I'm going to make sure that you're wearing safety glasses all the time. If you have your own safety glasses, that's a great thing. If you have your own tape measure you can bring in, that would be awesome. Now, you're not going to need them probably right away, but as we move to our to other areas in our classroom, we will eventually use those. I kind of split our class up into two different parts. I have our classroom area, which is up here, right, where we sit at. And then we have our shop area here in the back. When we're in the front, we don't have to wear safety glasses. This is where we look at the whiteboard. This is where we listen to Mr. Stahl. This is where we kind of get our instructions at. Back here is where all the work happens. This is where all the physical work happens in the shop, in the back. And our class is also split up in physical time. We do spend a little bit we spend about half the year doing some STEM related projects, and we talk about STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, and math. I really focus on engineering. My background is in engineering. Before I became a teacher, that was my goal, is to become a mechanical engineer. I had taken almost all the classes, and then my advisor said, "Hey, you should think about teaching," and then everything changed, and now I'm a teacher. But I still have that industrial arts engineering background that I so like to share with students. So we'll talk a lot about engineering. We'll talk a lot about math and science and technology as we travel through some of these projects. Probably the projects that you see students walking around with are the stool project, maybe the candy machine, maybe some other small projects. We do a lot of projects in class that require destructive testing, that require data collection. We may race CO2 cars. We may build and crush model bridges. You may have seen students walk around with their egg car project, where we ramp up the traditional egg drop, where we actually talked about safety bags and airbags and safety restraints and crush space and crumple zones, and how a crash or how a car helps protect us when we're in an accident. And so we look at things a little bit differently than just the perspective of saying, "Hey, we're going to drop this egg and we're going to see if it's going to break or not," but we're going to try to protect it with some of those things. So I'm going to kind of quickly walk around our room and just show you and share with you a couple spots in our room that are important, and then we'll talk about a few tools here and there and kind of get you acclimated with our room a little bit. All right, we'll start up here in the front of the room. For those of you that have never been in here before, there's our flag for the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning. There's our champs poster and our whiteboard. This storage room back here in the back is where I store a lot of the fasteners and some of the hand tools and a lot of the other things. Here we store a lot of STEM related stuff in this storage room. This is also our robotics storage area. This is some of our metal storage on the wall here. This metal table here is a table we use. Again, it's metal for a reason, because we use this for items like the hot glue guns or the wood burners, things where this table can get abused a little bit more, and we're not so concerned about burning the table or leaving marks on the table or so on and so forth. We do have a couple machines covered up here. These are our metalworking tools. These are our sheet metal benders and our brake and a metal bandsaw that we won't use a ton. This is the entrance to our upstairs. This is where we keep all of our material at up here. This is where we keep all of our wood. We'll send students up there to get things down occasionally. I have a lot of material that's donated. It looks like a mess up there, but there's a lot of material that's very usable for a lot of different things. There's our sink. Our shop sink's a little bit different than our traditional sink. To use the sink, we simply go ahead and we turn it forward towards us, and we turn it back off. Paper towel and soap, pencil sharpener. Here's our broom area and dustpan. Of course, we use that. You probably hear your parents say this, to clean up after yourself at the end of the hour. We're going to be doing that. You notice that the stools are up. We do that again as a way to clean things up and pick things up so we can sweep the floor as we move around. This is my office. I use it mainly to collect things and store things that I need out quickly for students. This is, of course, our wood rack. I store material down here so we can quickly get it down and use it. We have a couple different areas in our room. This is also a storage room in the back here. This here is our table saw. We'll talk a lot about the table saw. The table saw is probably the most dangerous piece of equipment in our classroom. These are our scrap bins. Here is our joiner, our planer, our chop saw, of course the shop vac. This is just a rolling stand here that we use to hold the material up on the chop saw. This is also a small planer. This is our compound miter saw or compound chop saw. Back here, up the stairs, this is our dust collection system, so that we turn it on by hitting the start button. Turn it off by hitting the stop. We use that when we're using the tools and machines. So we remove all of these large pieces of ductwork, are used to collect the dust as we use the tools and machines. This is one of our dust collection dustpans that connect to the dust collection system that goes outside into a barrel. Maybe if you've taken a break outside of the lunchroom, you may have seen that barrel out there. Notice the round sandpaper. This is our disc sander. This is our belt sander. This is our buffer. This is our acetylene tank for welding. This is our grinding wheel. This is our welder. This is simply a paint booth to take material away or fumes away. These are also exhausts here. This is our spindle sander. You can notice that it's round and sort of small. This is our router table, our disc belt combination. Again, all the ductwork is connected to remove the dust as we work. This is our foundry area. This is where we would melt. This is our furnace. This is where we would melt down material like aluminum to make different things. We may use that again this year depending on the time frame we're in. This is just our large exhaust fan. Porter cable bandsaw, just a air cleaning system. Our bandsaw again. We have a jigsaw here and a jigsaw here. Eye protection required. This is where we keep our safety glasses. These are our two drill presses. These are our benchtop vices. We also have vices here. In our cabinets, I kind of number them. I'll say 1, 2, or the green cabinet, or third cabinet, or fourth cabinet down from the end, or the one to the left of the green cabinet. Those are storage cabinets. This is where we store things like the hacksaws, hammers, okay, claw hammer, notice the claw on the back. The ball peen hammer, the files, that's where we keep our sandpaper. We have some screwdrivers in here, mallet, a couple saws. The green cabinet is where we store the T-squares, and the scissors are in the green cabinet as well. This one here has some planers and some saws in it as well. We make a trip back here. We keep some tape measures here. This is where we keep the screwdrivers at, in this middle drawer here, along with the pliers. Come along this side. This is where we keep drill bits and the orange speed squares. The center table is typically our work table. It's also our supply table. You'll notice that there are, the tape is there, our glue bottle. We have tape measures and pencils. This is our air compressor, which is pneumatically run. We have vices on the tables here, bench vise here. Again, this is a table we use for robotics, but we also sometimes put supplies in it. Here's our turn-in box. Underneath the glue table is some vices and some bar clamps. The other cabinets over here are simply storage. This one has a bunch of supplies in it for STEM. This is just a supply cabinet that we keep stuff in. The door up here in the front leads to the computer lab. The red and gray buttons, the gray boxes with the red buttons, those are our emergency stop switches. We have our learning targets over on the right, and then we're back up to the front of the room where we will be listening and doing our jobs up front. Hopefully that gave you some insight about our classroom and about shop, and a little bit about what our classroom is all about. Today's video is brought to you by Sharpie permanent marker. So just remember that as we travel through. You'll hear more about our sponsorships as we go. But I look forward to teaching you and having you learn a lot of really cool things in here. Trust me when I say this, that I'm here not to allow you to get hurt. I'll make sure you know the rules. I'll make sure you know what's going on, but I will have to have you meet me halfway. You'll have to wear your safety glasses. You'll have to be a good listener. You have to do your work every single day. We can't have students coming to class with things not done when we're required to. We can't have students forgetting permission slips when they need to get them in. We can't have students come to class without their hair pulled back or a hair tie. You need to be prepared. We're at the point in our lives where we're middle schoolers. We have to start understanding that there are jobs for us or for you as a student that you're responsible for every single day. Making sure you have your pencil, making sure you have your Chromebook, making sure we don't have room for exceptions at this point. So I'm trusting that you will hold up your end of the bargain, and I will promise to you that we will have a great opportunity. You are going to get dusty and dirty probably occasionally. But our goal is for you to learn something new and hopefully walk away with something that you can use for the rest of your life.